Welcome to another webinar during Global Astronomy Month. I'm your host, Andrew Fazekas, the Night Sky Guy, here for Astronomers Without Borders, celebrating a whole month of astronomy and the night sky. And we're really excited to be able to bring you a whole bunch of different webinars all throughout the month related to the night sky, how to explore that night sky. And that's what we're doing today in the final webinar of 2026 Global Astronomy Month. We're really excited about sharing some really neat aspects of, I think, one of the hottest trends in the night sky. You know, if you've ever kind of looked at the stars and you thought about how you'd like to see galaxies and maybe nebula, or see different kind of deep sky objects, things that are far away from the solar system. But telescopes may have been a little bit intimidating for you. Perhaps how to use a telescope, how to choose one, all of that. This webinar, I think, is for you then, because these, smart scopes that we're talking about today are really compact instruments. They're sort of portable, small observatories, and they're really changing, I think, the whole idea of how we're doing astronomy, how we're exploring the night sky, and how it's what I like to call democratizing astronomy a lot. And these are basically app controlled instruments using your tablets and your phones, and they really help beginners find objects, and track them automatically, and even build up surprisingly beautiful images with very little setup, which is really, really cool. So today, I'm good. My co-host with me is Eden Orion, who is the national coordinator for Astronomers Without Borders in Israel, and I'll bring him in. Hi, Eden. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah, thanks
Everything
for
is okay
joining.
here.
Yeah, it's great of you to join me and help basically explore some of these beginner aspects of what smart scopes are. And Eden and I both own smart scopes. I have a Dwarf 3 and a Vespera from Veonis. Eden, what do you have?
I have the Dwarf 3, the Dwarf Mini, and a Sister S50.
So there you go. So we've got some of the, I would say probably the most popular, some of the most popular brands out there. So it's
Mhm.
really, really exciting for us to be able to share some of our experiences. And this is really for beginners. So we're not going to go dive into a lot of the details. There's plenty of that out there on the net. You can go on
Mhm.
YouTube. Even Eden has a lot of stuff on his YouTube channel diving into a lot of the details. But this is sort of, you can think of it, I like to think of it sort of like going to a buffet at a restaurant, and you take a little bit of everything and you learn a little bit about different things, and you taste a little bit of the different aspects of what smart scopes are about. So why don't we just dive in right away? And Eden, maybe you can start us off with some of your experiences with the smart scopes. I know you have a presentation.
Yeah, so if you will allow me to share it, I will share it.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so I think this is quite a revolution. The smart telescopes and mostly the tiny telescopes, because really you can take a whole observatory in your pocket or in your bag, wherever you are going. So it's really something magical. And I'm dealing with astronomy for almost 30 years. I've built a lot of telescopes, small and medium, and also quite large telescopes. And I did a lot of observation with a lot of people. And the one thing I knew in at least the last 10 years, that most of the people who see something through telescope, they want to document it. They pull out almost automatically their smartphone and trying to photograph if it's the moon or Jupiter or Saturn through the eyepiece of the telescope, just to have it the picture for themselves. They don't want just to look at it. They want a document they have they have saw it. And so photography is becoming a big part of astronomic observation. And until the recent years, until the last 2 or 3 years, to do astrophotography, you did have to build most of the time quite a conglomerate of telescopes. You can see here an example of telescope of my friend Liron. She's a very good astrophotographer, but you can see that her telescopes, it's mainly two telescopes, and it adds two cameras and a lot of computers and wires and GPSs things and all kind of things. And she is going once in a month to the desert to take photograph of the skies, and just to set it up, it takes her at least 2 hours before, and she has to do it by daylight, because at night she cannot have light because it will disturb other photographers. And it's a very complicated job to get good pictures, but you can get wonderful pictures. The Heart Nebula that you can see below, it's an amazing example of what Liron did get from her equipment and from her things. But the thing is that the new robotic telescopes, the smart telescope, can make this job very much easier, and to make it that mostly anyone who wants to take photographs of the sky and even nebulas and galaxies and things like that, it will be a snap. It will be very easy. And the first swallows, it's already for 3 years already. We have the dwarf family, which now they have the dwarf 3 and the dwarf mini. I have both of them. And ZWO company, they have the Seastar family, which they have the Seastar S50, which has a 50 millimeter lens, and the S30 with 30 millimeter lens. And lately they announced, or they began to sell the S30 Pro with much better optics and sensor. And what you can see with this thing, this is one example. This is the Veil Nebula, the Eastern Veil Nebula. I took it with my dwarf tree. I think this is an amazing example of what you can get with such a very small instrument. I don't know if you can see me. I will hold the dwarf tree. I don't know. Here you can see the dwarf tree. It's a quite, this is a whole observatory. It can track the sky, it will find the object, and it will take long exposures, and it will collect them and make a final image like the Veil Nebula you saw in the thing, in the presentation. I think this is amazing product, and there are also some other telescopes that can make such an images, and I think this is really a miracle. Uh, it's very important to say what these devices will not suitable, and it's mainly for planets. Here you can see Saturn and also Jupiter that I photographed with the S50, the ZWO S50. It's good, but it's not. Most of the time, if you look through a nice Dobsonian telescopes, or nice Cassegrain telescope, which has a very long field of very long focal length, you will see much better images. So these devices are less suitable for the planetary images. Even they can produce nice pictures of the moon and also of the sun. All of these devices coming with a solar filter, which you can photograph the sun with the sunspots. And even if sometimes the ISS, the International Space Station, moving along the sun, it's happening once a month, and you can also photograph the ISS moving along the sun. So you can do a lot of things. A smart telescope, it's in a very small package, but it's a lot of technology in there. The optics are at least semi apochromat or apochromat lenses, which in order that it can be very short focal length, but to get very good pictures. It has also a motor that take it azimuth, and motor to take it altitude, and also some kind of computer that compute and takes information from a GPS where you are located, and how with these motors and with this computer and the GPS information, how to find every object in the sky that are in the catalog. All these instruments are operated with the smartphone like this, or with tablets. And via the smartphone, you can also use a sky atlas, which has tens of thousands of objects in its, and you can tell the thing with via the sky atlas, please go to M42, the Orion Nebula, or go to M51, the Whirlpool Galaxy, and after a few minutes it will get there and will begin to take the images, and just in amazing way. Uh, how do we get the color images? Uh, it takes several shots, several pictures. Each picture is with exposure of between 5 to 60 seconds, and then he calculates the value of the pixels in each image and connect them together, so it will get more light from several images together. And after several images, most of the time 2 or 3 images, maybe 4, you begin to see a color image of a distant object thousands or million light years away from here. This is really, I think it is real magic, or real. If you will show it 20 years ago, it would call the science fiction. You can see a live broadcast from a galaxy uh, 20 million years, light years from here, and you can see it live. This is really amazing. And also, it has a lot of advantages. First of all, it's small and you can put it in the balcony. When here it's the winter, I put it in the balcony, and it can be cold, and I'm getting into the house and I can operate the thing with the phone in the house, see also a TV series in between, and it will take the pictures. And after 2 or 3 hours, I will have a very nice pictures of a nebula, of a galaxy, or something like this. Here you can see what telescopes you can buy here. By these times in ZWO, you have the Seastar S50, you have the Dwarf 3, the Dwarf Mini, and the Seastar S30 and S30 Pro. Andrew will show you another telescope, and there are also some kind other telescopes, but these are the most smaller telescopes, and it's very convenient. You can put it in the bag and take it with you wherever you want. You don't need a whole car or whole back seat in the car. You can put it in the bag, and the Dwarf Mini you can put it in the pocket, go into a bus and ask them to drive wherever you want to get. The user interface of these miracles, these marbles, is also quite nice. You can do everything with the phone. You don't need to have a large screen of a computer. Everything you do with the phone. I will make it something, I will make it fast, and you will see while I'm talking how the whole Dwarf 3 is working. You can see I'm turning it on. I'm finding it via the Wi-Fi wherever I need. It has its own Wi-Fi communication. Then I'm choosing whatever I want to photograph. And this is the Sky Atlas. Everything is in the phone. And I'm finding what I want to photograph. You can see here a lot of galaxies and other things. And I will choose M42, the Orion Nebula, because it's my name. I like it very much. You can understand. And then it begins to calibrate itself. It finds itself where in the sky it is and where on Earth it is via the GPS. And it do a process called plate solving. It's not so important how it is done, but it's really a lot of mathematics doing behind. And after a few seconds, it's beginning uh, to show the nebula live in color. Now, everyone, if someone saw this nebula via a telescope and even via large telescope, you will see a faint gray spot. With these machines, with these smart telescopes, you see the color of the nebula quite fast after half a minute, maybe a minute. And here you can see it's going by speed, how the image is built on. And after I'm stacking, I will wait here to stack 100 images, and every image is 15 seconds. So it's 1500 seconds, the whole exposure. And we will have a very nice image of the Orion Nebula. And you can see also the running man here on the part on the upper part of the nebula. I will not show everything because I want to do some other things. There are some myths that we have to break regarding these telescopes. Uh, some people's, most of the, a lot of the veterans astronomers or the people who bought a very expensive telescope said that these are just toys. I don't think this is true. They have the best optics, these triplet Apo lenses. They have the best sensors to take images, so it's really not a toy. Uh, Other myth is they said it's not for serious imaging. I did a lot of imaging before I began to work with these small telescopes, and this thing can do really serious imaging, even spectrography, really. And another myth is the aperture is too small to see so much. Well, the aperture is small. It's something like a regular binocular or theater binocular, but because the optics are perfect and they have all they have the whole array of filters, dual band filters and astro filters and also light pollution filters, you can get a very, very good images out of these telescopes. And I think it's not only for absolute beginners. I'm really not an absolute beginner. I've built a lot of telescopes and I did a lot of astrophotography before I began to use this. And these days I find it much easier for me, and I find it the same enthusiasm, the same excitement to work with these machines than to work with the all complicated system that I had before. Uh, the prices are varying between 350, $360 to $500 to $600. Depends which telescope you want to buy, and depends on the sensor and the optics and the diameter of the lenses. And some images that I did with this, this is the image gallery that I did with the Dwarf 3 telescope. I think these amazing images. I don't think I could do such good images with the all the equipment that I had, even it was much bigger in diameter and a lot of computers and a lot of, it was quite heavy and very complicated to operate, and with this small thing I can really do nice images. Like this is from the Dwarf 3, this is from the Sea Star, and you can see also the moon is quite nice with it. Even you can see a distant galaxy like the Sombrero galaxy or star clusters, the M13. Look, this is really an amazing picture. If you show it 10 years ago, they will say, what a wonderful, what a big telescope you had. Yes, I did it with a 50 millimeter telescope, automatic telescope, which I operated with the phone. It's amazing. And also with the Dwarf Mini, I will show the Dwarf Mini just to show you how small it is. This is really a miracle. Very small telescope, and if you can see, this is my hand. Okay, you can actually put it in the bag, and look what wonderful images it can take Even the moon is wonderful. Even star cluster, the Horsehead Nebula, which I never saw in real telescopes with the eyepiece. It's too faint. And with this machine, very small machine, after this will take at least half an hour to get such an image, but you can get a very nice image. Even distant galaxies like M51 or M81 or M82 or the Rosette Nebula, which is very, very nice, really amazing instruments. You can even do mosaic. You can take several places in the sky and make a mosaic out of them. It's like a kind of panorama and photograph things together. Like this is all the veils, nebulas together. And I think it's also can perform as an educational tools because it's cheap and because it's small. People can take the students in school can take it to their annual trips here in Israel. The annual trips mostly to the desert in the southern part of the country, and you have a dark night there. And some people from several schools can take images of the same object, let's say the Andromeda galaxy, and combine them together and talk together. It can bring people together to work together from even from different cultures. And I saw even international projects that people collect images of the same nebula or galaxy from all over the world and combine it together to get a much better image and also to bring people together. Uh, Another activity is to post process the images that these machines or these telescopes are taking with open source software, and there are a lot of very good open source software, also commercial software, but I deal mostly with open source software, and you can post process the images and make it even better. Actually, I'm going to open in a few weeks an astrophotography processing course here in Israel in Hebrew, but I believe I will translate it into English in the next several months. Yeah, also you can do image processing or post processing with the phone. There are free softwares, free applications in the phone like Lightroom Light or Snapseed. You can see here the image that how it goes, how it was when it got out of the smart telescopes, and after dealing with Lightroom, and the lower one is after dealing with Snapseed. You can make the image much better with free applications, and it's also very fun to do all these things, and it's also teach you how photography as a whole is working. So this is, I think, what I wanted to show about this thing. I hope Andrew will continue and tell you some other interesting things. Uh, yeah.
Definitely. That's fantastic, Eden. That's really, really cool. You really went into some of the details of what a user can experience with with these smart telescopes. And what's really neat is that they are so portable. These that and I think Eden also alluded there are many different types of smart scopes out there for different budgets as well. This one, the Dwarf Mini, is I think right now the smallest one that I know of that's out
Yeah.
there, mass marketed. It's really incredible. I think it's 800 grams or something like that. It's really small. Look, it's about the size of a hand. So it doesn't get any more portable than that. So it's really, really great. And there are other ones as well. I mean, like, let me see if I can show like the one I have. Where is it? There. This one. This is the one I'm going to talk about. I also have the Dwarf 3 as well, just like what Eden was talking about. But I also have the Vespera, which is put out by the French company Veonis. And I've been very fortunate to have been able to have this one from the Veonis company in France. And it's really it's opened my eye out to a different way of doing astronomy and outreach as well. I've had many decades of experience of outreach, and that's one of the things I love, is sharing my passion for astronomy with people everywhere, and also doing astronomy myself. And I own a dozen different telescopes. I have all kinds of refractors. I have Schmidt Cassegrains like the LX200 8-inch. I have William Optics refractors, really nice ones, 3-inch, 4-inch. I've got, even the largest one I have is a 20-inch Obsession Dobsonian. It's actually one of my favorite go-tos to go, but it's huge. I mean, it weighs hundreds of pounds. You need a ladder to go up to use it, and I can tell you what's been surprising is that smart scopes can deliver more detail than what I was able to see visually through my large telescope. Now, does it replace that? I don't think it does necessarily. Let's just keep that really in mind, that these telescopes are generating images. You're not looking through the telescope directly with your eyes and seeing the photons that hit your eyes. That's something really special. The views aren't going to be spectacular, but just knowing that you're seeing something live is something, I think, old school. And it has its classical place, and I don't think it's ever going to replace. This is just another tool in the backyard astronomy enthusiasts tool belt that we can use for different situations. Maybe you're not mobile. Maybe you're stuck at home in the suburban even with light pollution. Maybe you just don't have the ability to carry your equipment, a big telescope. You don't have room, or you're traveling somewhere far away on flights, airplanes, and you want to still do astronomy and still be able to capture the night sky. This can let you have fun. There's so many situations. Like, I'm a father of two kids, still teenagers, but since I've had these little telescopes, there's been many times I'm just busy. I'm a dad. I don't have time to pack up all my astronomy gear and head out to a dark sky park, but I still want to do something. Well, I can set up my smart scope like one of these, or the dwarf, literally within minutes. I keep them on tripods constantly, and I just put them out in my backyard, turn them on, and I can be sitting in my living room couch and be able to, like, within minutes, enjoy some deep sky views, which is really a lot of fun. Well, let me go now into talking a bit more about this telescope, the Vespera, and because it's a little bit different from the other ones. You can see it's actually a lot bigger than the Dwarf 3. And you know what's funny is, when I got this, my daughter said, that looks really familiar, Daddy. What does it look like? And she pointed to this. You know what this is, guys? This is like a this is my AirPods, my Apple AirPods. It kind of has that design look, really does it, except the giant version of it. It's really neat, and I kind of almost think of it as kind of like the Apple designed smart scope. And let me jump in, and I have a little presentation about that to explain a little bit more on a high level of what this scope is like, and it's a lot of fun to use. So this is what's called the Vespera. It's by Veoneese. And this is a compact all-in-one smart scope. Again, just like what E was saying with all the other smart scopes, the Veoneese also has no eyepiece. The image appears on your phone or your tablet. This model that I have is called the original Vespera. Sometimes it's now referred to as the Vespera Classic or the Vespera 1. And what makes it different from a traditional telescope is that you don't look through the eyepiece. Instead, the Vespera uses a built-in camera, and it sends the image to your phone and tablet. It's a real standard way for all smart scopes. So this is really more like, I call it a robotic observatory for astrophotography, more than a conventional visual telescope. And the original Vespera, like the one you see here on this slide, this is a picture of the one I have. It uses a 50 millimeter apochromatic quadruplet refractor with a 200 millimeter focal length. And it has a field of view that's about 1.6 by 0.9 degree. So you can easily, comfortably see easily the moon or the solar disk easily and much more around it. It's a pretty wide field of view, and it makes it especially suited to larger deep sky objects, and that's where it really shines. So what makes it smart? Okay, so the magic of a smart scope, just like this one, is that it removes many of the pain points that stop beginners from enjoying astrophotography, right? So normally you would need to align a mount. You would normally attach a camera to your telescope. You focus carefully. You take many exposures. You stack them on a computer, and then process the image. That's the usual process. But with smart scopes like the Vespera, much of that is built in. You choose an object in the app. The telescope points itself, tracks the sky, and begins stacking short exposures. At first, the image looks faint, but after a few minutes, you begin to see all that color, the structure. Just like in this one, you see an example on a phone of what it ends up looking like. And the name of the app that they've developed in-house at Veonis. It's called Singularity, and it's the control center for your smart scope. It handles setup, object selection, alignment, tracking. There's onboard image processing. There's something called a mosaic mode where it can stitch together many pictures together if it's a very large object like the Andromeda galaxy, for instance. And you can even plan out observing sessions in advance. So it makes it really, really cool. Um, and then basically, you've got some of the ideas of what you can do. Again, at its best, this telescope it shows the showpiece deep sky objects really well. Things like you see here, like the Orion Nebula, the Pleiades, the Andromeda Galaxy, the Rosette Nebula, some of the showstoppers that are really, you see them in books and in magazines all the time, these objects everywhere. And big star fields in the Milky Way are also really great because Vespera is it's a wide field instrument, which means it's not trying to give you extreme close-ups of things like planets. Instead, it gives you those beautiful wide color scenes, right? That are often, I think, very hard to see with the human eye alone. You just can't see them, especially in suburban light polluted skies. So the Vespera, I would say, is mainly for moderate scale deep sky astrophotography. Full scale moon and solar imaging is great. And they do produce a solar filter that you can just hook up on it, but it's not good for planetary detail. Like you're not going to see Jupiter's red spot or the Mars surface views. Things like that just aren't going to shine with these kind of scopes. And I think the wonder moment in these, right? This is where I think these little instruments, these gadgets really hook people. And that's because when you get to see that first image, just like what Eden was saying with the dwarf and with the sea star, the first image pops up into view very, very quickly, within seconds. And the first image may be a little bit underwhelming, right? It's kind of pale, like you can see here, the 10-second thing. But then it keeps collecting light, and every few seconds it adds another exposure to that stack. And slowly, almost magically, the object appears, right? That's what's so cool about this. It's right before your eyes. So you get that faint smudge that becomes this galaxy or this beautiful, colorful nebula. It's basically watching the invisible become visible. That's where I think the wonder of this instrument really is, just like it is with actually all smart scopes. And on board the Vespera, they have the image stacking to create the images. You could even save files later for like in different formats like TIFF and FITS. It's really, really very convenient for that. So what does it do well? It's beautifully simple. I mean, it gets beginners into deep sky imaging without really needing to understand things like polar alignment. Those of you guys out there that have done traditional astronomy know about that whole process of polar aligning. I remember doing that back in the day in the 80s and 90s, and sometimes it just took a long time, especially if you're a beginner, to figure that out, how to do polar alignment. Well, these telescopes do it quickly. Auto guiding, camera adapters, stacking software, all of that on the, is done in the first night when you turn these telescopes on. And it's portable. You can take it in the backyard, out in the country cottage, a darker sky location. And third, I think it's excellent for outreach. Even Eden pointed this out with the Sea Star and the Dwarf 3, all of them. The Vespera does this as well. When I show people the night sky, I love anything that lets more people share the experience at the same time, right? That's what us outreach people really crave, is share, share, share. And a scope really does that, like it turns observing into a shared screen experience. And that could be very, very powerful, to have groups of people seeing the same thing at the same time. So, this is, a telescope. It weighs about 5 kilograms. It's a lot more than the Dwarf 3, which is like 1.3 kilos. But there's more in there, more stuff stacked in there. And I would say it's a more of a premium build as well. What beginners should not expect out of this kind of stuff? You're not going to look through it with an eyepiece. So forget about looking through it. You're not going to get giant close-up views of planets like Jupiter and Saturn. The best images don't really appear instantly. They take a few minutes. I mean, that's still crazy that it just takes a few minutes. But yes, you do have to be a little bit patient to build up the best quality that it can do. So you have some patience. And the sky still matters. Okay, so if you've got haze and you've got clouds, things like smoke, bright moonlight, heavy light pollution, they can all affect the results of these telescopes still. They're not completely magical things. I mean, they still are limited by physics out there, the reality of nature. But they do make astrophotography much easier. But they don't cancel out the atmosphere. That's for sure. And Veoneese, by the way, does offer optional filters as well. So that you can have light pollution filters, solar filters, deep sky filters, things like that are available. And over time, the Vespera, the original classic that I have, that came out a few years ago, but they've got other ones. They've got the Vespera 2. Now they've got the newer generation of Vespera Pro out there as well. What are the new models? They've evolved. The newer versions have higher resolution sensors. They have more advanced imaging features. But the core idea is always the same. Veoneese is trying to make astrophotography less intimidating by combining the telescope, camera mount, computer, and app into one ecosystem that you can work with. And for a beginner, I wouldn't get lost in the specs, okay? The real question is, what kind of sky experience do you want? If you want something simple, elegant, that's app guided in terms of deep sky imaging, the Vespera is great. It'll do that. Like I said, it depends on what you want. Like the depends on the package that you're looking for and your budget. So here you can see these are a lot more than what the Dwarf and Sea Stars are. So what Eden was showing with Dwarf and Sea Star, the budgets are 300 to 600 US dollars approximately. Here we're talking 1,500 to maybe 3,000, just under $3,000 for these. You are getting larger sensors on board. Okay, so you are getting that. You have more storage space potentially, longer battery life. So there's more that's being packed into these telescopes, especially the upgraded versions. But you're gonna, the price point is higher, but the experience is more premier as well. And I think also you can, you're looking at the way the telescope looks as well. It's got that kind of Apple-ish design, to it. So it really depends on where you want to go, but it's really impressive what these telescopes can do, even just the first night, and you can keep it simple the first night and it'll be amazing. So give yourself some time. The set up early when you get these telescopes. Make the first session easy. Don't overcomplicate things. Like maybe pick a bright object, something that's easy, something like the Orion Nebula in winter, the Pleiades, the Andromeda Galaxy if it's the autumn time, or some other bright star cluster. Don't choose a tiny faint galaxy and then feel disappointed, right? Because it'll still be small and fuzzy even with these telescopes. Pick something more dramatic like those and you'll have a really fun start. So the thing here, you guys have to remember is that you don't want to, the idea here is not to win an astrophotography contest, right? That's not the point of these telescopes. It's really to enjoy the night sky. That's what it's about. And my honest take on these, like I guess final thoughts on like the Vespera and other smart telescopes too, is these are really elegant and beginner friendly devices. Okay. They are best used as a deep sky imaging tool. And it's not an eyepiece experience like traditional telescopes. So it's really about making those amazing views and making it accessible. They're remarkable little instruments, really, I find. And for me, you know, it's sharing, being able to, it's letting people see things from my backyard that were once really difficult as an outreach person for me to capture and share. And I think that's the real promise of smart scopes. They're lowering the barrier. That's what I think they are. They're lowering the barrier, and they're inviting more people to explore the universe. And then as an outreach person, I go, yay, this is exactly what I'm looking for, is to be able to share the passion that we all have. And if you're watching this and you're thinking about buying a telescope, maybe you have kids, maybe you have grandkids, maybe you do outreach, you're a teacher with students. There are so many applications to this, and it's fun to do. And there's so many different types of smart scopes out there. We just introduced to you some of our favorites, things that we have. It's really great to see this. um, Eden, what did you think? Did I hit the marks there?
I think it was very interesting, and I didn't use so much these telescopes, and I learned a lot of from it. I have to mention something that I didn't say about the other telescopes before. Most of them, at least the Dwarf 3, the Seastar S30, and the Dwarf Mini, have a wide angle camera, and they can also take amazing images of the Milky Way itself.
That is very, very true, because let me just, maybe I can show people. Let me see if I can, hold on. I'm just going to take you out of my screen and show the wide angle here. This is interesting. There's actually two lenses here. This is what you're talking about, right, Eden?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It looks like Wall E. You remember the movie Wall
The
E?
Wally, yeah, the
Yeah,
Wally, the animated movie, yeah,
it looks
kind of.
very similar.
Yeah, there's the two, and so one of these is a telephoto lens, and the other one is a wide angle lens, right? So we get to experience wide angles, and it's good for terrestrial photography as
Yeah,
well. Time lapse,
yeah.
you can do things like that.
Star Trails.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's really, really amazing. I'm looking
Yeah,
at the comments here. And let me just go in here and see what we have. We've got some questions and stuff coming in.
yeah. On the
Oh,
YouTube
this is a
channel,
very
yes.
interesting one, Eden. This one, I think
Yeah,
we need to address this. Is it true that images captured with these devices are improved with images stored in databases? Oh,
definitely not.
definitely not. I know this is something that I thought of too, but it's even in the manuals. If you read the manuals of I know on Dwarf 3 too, there is no cloud computing that's done.
Eh,
Everything is on board.
I understand from where this question is coming. In my phone, which is Samsung, when you're taking an image of the moon, it find also the same image in their database and show you a perfect moon. But this is not the case in the smart telescopes. So I
Yeah,
can understand from where the question is coming, but this is not this is not the case on smart telescopes. These are the real images that are taken from the real space.
yeah, and it's all the image processing is done on board your device. So whether it's your
Yeah,
tablet or your phone, it's all being crunched, done there. It's not cloud computing. It can be, you can, if you want to, do stuff like that. It's possible. There are options for those things, but really, if you want, you can just save all your raw images and you can download the raw images individual. Like if you have 100 or 200, 500, you can
yeah,
get them all and then do your own processing
yeah,
separately.
on the computer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Also, the dwarf telescopes has their own service that you can upload the image that was made in the telescope to their service, and they will improve it into their service. It's called Stellar Studio.
that's right.
And
So there are, and folks, I highly recommend read up on it. There's a lot of information online about this, but we're just touching the surface about this. That was a good question. Here's another one coming in from Redwood Bard. Says, why are smart scopes good for distant galaxies but not for planets? Maybe you
because
can
their focal
reiterate.
length is too short. The focal length is too short, and the diameter of the lens is also too small. For having good image of the planets, if you want to see the red spot on Jupiter or the distance between two rings on Saturn, you have to have a telescope with a very long focal length, at least meter and a half or 2 meters, and much larger lens, something like 80 millimeters to 90 or even 100 millimeters wide to get a good image.
Here's another.
It's physics. It's not
Yeah.
modern physics.
Yeah, yeah. It's classical physics. Here's an interesting question. Technical. Is it possible to connect more than one screen device at the same time? Hmm. I've never.
Yeah, each device has its own Wi-Fi network, so you can connect for several minutes to one device, and then to switch a network to the second device.
Can you do it at the same time? Can you have two devices connected? Like to
Yeah,
show, I guess
yeah.
maybe to
When I'm
show
Yeah, you
it is
just have to transfer between two Wi-Fi networks, but it's very easy. The switching is something like 15 seconds or something like this. It's very easy.
um oh, a comment by Randy Dodge says that smart scopes are excellent comet hunters. Have you
Yeah,
had I've done comet with my Vespera and my dwarf, both of them, and
I I did
beautiful.
the I did the C25 R3 with the Dwarf 3, and it got very nice images. I think even one of the things I showed in the presentation was one of the comets. There were two comets in the summer, and there was one comet last week, but it was too cloudy here to catch it.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna show a little ad I have here for the Mini Pro. People can take a look at
Okay.
it. It's really cute. Check this out. was cute. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's it's pretty amazing, being able to see these objects with something as small. That's the newest, smallest one. Eden was talking. You were talking about that just a little while ago. So really cool stuff. All these smart scopes can produce very pleasing images and quickly. So that's what I like. Oh, here we got another question. Let's see. Of the telescopes we looked at today, which one would you consider the best for image quality? Well,
Hard question,
yeah, that's a hard question.
because most it's a hard question because most,
Like the mini, the dwarf mini, I wouldn't put it in the same category as the Vespera. It's not fair.
yeah, because you cannot compare the diameter of the lenses.
Yeah, it's like in boxing, you have the heavyweight and you have the
Yeah,
featherweight. The featherweight
yeah,
category you'd never put in the ring with the heavyweight.
yeah.
It's a different game. So, but now I think what was interesting is that there is this being able to do mosaics, right,
Yeah.
as well. So that I think also is the big thing, is being able to take some of the very wide angle, like large nebulas and things like that.
I think if you want to be technically, so it's the larger the lens and the larger the sensor. But when you are buying such a thing, you have to consider much more things like the portability, the easy of using, and all the other things.
Yeah, if you're doing strictly fit, if you're very, very strict about image quality, you'd have to get the largest sensor, right? Larger, best
Yeah,
optics, largest
buy the Hubble
optics.
telescopes. It's almost retired. Buy it.
Yeah,
It will
I
be
mean, you
very
can't
good.
beat physics, right? You can't beat physics.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and you have to, yeah, that's what it is. But there are trade-offs when you're dealing with those larger ones. So if image quality is your utmost consideration, sure. But if you want to use the telescope often, ease of use, quick, uh, how quick you can set things up, all of that. There's a lot of other
Considerations.
yeah, things, factors to consider. So yeah, it's really, really interesting to be able to. Oh, and also here's another comment. I've read a paper that utilized the unistellar smart telescope for exoplanet transit observations. Did you attempt something similar with a C star now that it has EQ mode? Eden, you're the C star guy.
I don't think it's possible, but it is an interesting question because the measurement you have to do to see these planets, how do it's called? It's
Like exoplanets.
uh,
Yeah.
exoplanets. You have to have a very, very delicate measurement, and I don't think these instruments are delicate enough for this.
Yeah, I think it's just the size, and yeah, the unistellar scopes are larger, sort of like the Vespera category, I would say. The Veronese scopes and the unistellar scopes are in a different category, larger, much larger sensors. Uh, but there's just a lot of interesting things going on, and I think with the smart scope, these companies like the ones we were talking, like C Star and Dwarf Lab, they are building larger sensors into there.
Yeah,
They are pushing the envelope in the technology they're packing into these small telescopes. And I was watching, I don't know, I haven't talked to, I don't have any insider knowledge really. I was just watching some videos from NEAF. And our friends at Dwarf Lab were there, and there was a hint of
yeah,
some upcoming new larger
yeah.
telescope, right? Did you see that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I also wrote on it on Reddit. If you want, after this thing, we can talk about it. But what I wanted to say about this telescope, that you can do spectrography with them. This is something you can do. I think it's you can do education with this. It's very interesting for maybe high school students or something like this,
Can you
maybe, or
explain? Can you explain just very quickly to the general audience what spectroscopy is? What is that for?
you can analyze the light that's coming from the stars and see what material it's consisted of via
Aha.
analyzing the light.
So it's basically you're getting a chemical fingerprint of the
Yeah,
object you're
exactly.
looking at.
Yeah. And this
Fascinating.
is something you can do with these small telescopes.
And that's
I
that's
think it's
research.
amazing.
That's research.
Yeah,
Citizen science, right?
exactly.
It's fantastic. Eden, this has been a great webinar. I really want to thank you to share your knowledge with me and our friends everywhere watching around the world our broadcast today. It really was a pleasure to have you on, Eden. I love working with you, co-hosting with you. It's
Me
always fun,
too.
and we got to do this more, right?
Yeah, whenever you want.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we're going to do. And if you guys watching, if you missed last week, we did the Best of Messier marathon. Eden and I were teamed up to do a really special Global Astronomy Month webinar about looking at using these smart scopes to do Messier object marathons, which is really a lot of fun as well. So if you missed that out, check the replay. It's on AWB's Astronomers Without Borders channel. It's also on my channel, the Night Sky Guy channel. You can check it out, the Best of Messier Marathon, and look at some of the cool things that Eden's been doing from the dark skies in Israel. It's really, I'm envious of your skies, Eden. You have beautiful, beautiful skies. Here I get mostly snow and clouds here in Montreal. Anyways, Eden, thank you. All the best.
It was a pleasure.
I wish you clear skies, Eden.
Thank you
And
so much.
I
Too.
wanted to also give out a big thanks to Dwarf Lab for generously sponsoring this webinar and helping support Global Astronomy Month at Astronomers Without Borders and help in bringing astronomy to everyone. It really is something a lot of fun that we have here at Astronomers Without Borders. So I wanted to thank Dwarf Lab for that. And I wanted to thank all of you for staying with us for a few minutes of your day. Thank you so much. And until the next video, I wish all of you clear skies. Bye-bye.
从蓝色的小点到远方的恒星，我们是同一群人，拥有同一片天空。
A highlight is pointer, a downward kilo means exact writings, and lyrics of the movement of the set doors the Darun Tak Han Ek Hai, Ek Kon, Ek Asman.
From the pale blue dot to the distant stars, we are one. One people, one sky.